I grew up, in the inner city, watching a lot of things happen that were challenging to see.
Mm-hmm.
Substance use and mental health, untreated, crime.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Sharika. I am your host, Sharika Swebe. I am a life coach, also known as the Mind Reset Strategist, published author, and speaker. And today I have the lovely Miss Nisaa Robinson with us. She is a self-mastery coach. Now, we're going to dive down into what exactly that is, but she also does a number of other things, and she's involved in youth life and family and couples and trauma and domestic violence and homelessness. She is a human being who I would say is ensuring that she dies empty. So I think you would agree with me when I say that. So please welcome the wonderful Miss Nisaa Robinson. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here and to talk with you and to share, just have conversation. Yeah, so I appreciate that. Appreciate the warm introduction and welcome. So yeah, let's dive in.
Sure. So let's start off by getting to know you a little bit more. Who was Nisaa Robinson prior to the person that she is now, a self-mastery coach, a confidence coach, helping women in business to become their best selves? Who were you before all of that?
So in short, I would say uncertain, unsure. I lacked purpose and meaning. I grew up, in the inner city, watching a lot of things happen that were challenging to see.
Mm-hmm.
Substance use and mental health, untreated, crime going on right outside, right outside of the door. And I made some decisions of my own also in response to the environment that I grew up in. And I looked around. This is the answer to the question. I looked around and it seemed as though that I didn't see anybody really caring. It seemed like people pretended to care about one another just to get what they wanted and get their needs met, pretend to love and care about what was going on with the next person, and then misuse and abuse them, mistreat them. And so I had come to this conclusion that somehow I must be off. The thoughts that I had growing up as a little girl, so we start there. As a child, I was pretty hopeful and optimistic, and I had big dreams and things, and had this greatness, about life that I believe that everyone has.
Right.
And as time went on and I had those experiences, I came to this place where I thought, well, I must be off. I must be wrong in my thinking and understanding. And this is what life really is. So if this is what's really going on, this is the game. You got to play the game. You got to, use people and mistreat people, put on the facade, wear the mask,
right?
All the things. Then I guess that's what we got to do. So the person that I was, originally, was an individual. Created on purpose, with purpose, for purpose,
right?
And then was influenced by things that were going on in the environment. Did not have the right tools to process all of that, and came to a conclusion that I must need to play this game called life too, in the same way that I saw other people doing. And so I had this really distorted mentality about life and other people, and was really convinced that there was no purpose, there was no meaning, that it was all just make-believe. And so I made some foolish mistakes and made decisions that started my life on a trajectory that would have likely landed me dead or incarcerated. So that's where I was. I wouldn't necessarily say it's who I was. That's where I was at the time.
Right.
The person that I was is the person that I was always created to be. I know that today, but I didn't know that then. I was desperate, depressed, disillusioned with life, and basically had given up on any real meaning or purpose in life.
Wow. As a child, we always know, as kids, we know exactly who we are and what we're about, and we know how amazing the world is and that people have goodness in them. But as we grow older, we are kind of conditioned. Well, not kind of. We are conditioned to believe the complete opposite, and that is the childhood fantasies and ideas that we have. They're basically beaten out of us. But becoming an adult and seeing the way that things are going on around you, what kind of person, I know you said you got in some trouble and so on, but what kind of person, if you were to describe that person, who would you say that person was at that point?
Selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed, very critical of other people. There was a lack of interest in what maybe mattered for other people, except that how can I gain understanding of that so that I could use it for my own benefit.
Right.
I mean, that's how I would describe that person.
And where did that kind of thinking lead you? What were some of the things that you got involved in that you later realized were not going to bring you where you want to get to, or things that you realized was going against your true character or your true identity?
Yeah. So to keep it brief, there was criminal activity that was involved. There was, substance use involved. There was, connection to and being associated, with people who I want to make sure that I'm protecting other people as well, but involvement in breaking the law, breaking the law, doing things that were illegal, involving substance use, setting people up, things like that, in order to get gain, were some of the things that were involved.
At what point in time, though, what caused the shift from that person to wanting to be something more and something different?
Yeah, well, I believe, and I know this to be true for myself, I believe it for other people too, that person that was present, the real me that I was created to be, the one that had the hope and the dreams, was always there, always.
Right.
And that was part of my difficulty, part of the challenge for me, is that I couldn't shake that there was this other voice, speaking to me about being more, being different, having more to contribute. And so that was always present. That internal conflict remained there. What happened though, because using substances and living a life that's party all the time and all of that, can do a real decent job of keeping that stuff at bay, keeping those thoughts at bay, no, that's not really real. You just think, it's just pie in the sky. That doesn't really happen. And if it does happen, it doesn't happen for you or people like you. So, drink some more, smoke some more, do something, go party, go hang out with people, whatever it is, get your mind off of those kind of thoughts, because that's not real. So with all that conflict going on, what I experienced as I was on the precipice of truly throwing it all in, going all in into a life of just no meaning at all. And it was at that point that I encountered a mentorship, a coaching, training process, an immersive process of my own that I ended up encountering. And I don't think I knew. Like, I don't remember talking about mindset or paradigms or belief systems. Like, I don't remember any of that kind of stuff. But when I engaged in that program, I mean, my whole life was turned upside down or right side up, if we want to say it that way. My belief system completely shift, paradigm completely shift. I came face to face with who I really was, all over again, and became reconnected with the hope and the real purpose and meaning of life, and the purpose that I have, and the contributions that I could bring to the world. And that is what was the shift. It was someone else who had went through their own process of self-discovery and self-mastery, and who had learned how to bring together the philosophies and the modalities and the methodologies of various practical and philosophical strategies and techniques, and was able to bring them all together into a program that, in short order, I'm talking short length of time. We say change take a long time. I'm here to tell you, not necessarily so. But that was the shift. I encountered that process, and it completely changed my life. Completely changed my life. I always had this belief in the back of my mind that people are capable of change. Once I actually went through that transformation myself, there's no one anywhere that can tell me that people can't change. I don't care what they've done, where they've been. I really don't, what has happened to them. And I don't say that to dismiss or discount anything that anybody has been through.
I got it.
However, like you mentioned at the beginning, I've worked with individuals who have experienced things such as being incarcerated and being released after serving time for murder, those who had served time for rape, and people who have experienced a level of trauma that you just can't even imagine that they would be able to be sane again. Right. And I've watched them transform, and then I had my own experience of transformation. So I'm a firm believer. There's nothing anybody could tell me about it. But that was a very long answer to say that was the shift for me, though.
Was there any resistance though? Because most people, I know you always had that nagging voice in the back of your head. But I know a lot of people, when they are introduced to something different, there's resistance. Did you have resistance?
I'm going to say that there was a level of resistance just from the place of not knowing and not understanding. And right. Some of the things that I was being told to do was just sort of like, for what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? So just not having the knowledge and being kind of resistant in that way. But I think because of the amount of pain that I was in at the time, I had come at least to the point to where I had experienced enough that I really knew, even though I had convinced myself that this is how I need to live or survive, even though I had convinced myself of that intellectually, yeah, my soul was not in agreement with that. Right. And so the amount of pain that I had experienced was enough to cause me to be open, pretty open to hearing whatever anybody had to say. Because what I did know is I don't want more of that. Like, if you're getting ready to tell me that somehow it's possible for me to not have more of what I've been getting, then okay, I'm in. But in the midst of the process, though, because we come to the process, gung ho, ready, I'm all in, let's go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In the midst of it, there are times and there were things that were like, well, do this, but I did it anyway. That's the thing. Like, I questioned, I had the internal resistance, but I would do it anyway. Right. And that's the only way I can get the result, is if I do it anyway.
Beautiful. I love that you said you did it anyway. Would you mind sharing one or two of the things that you had to do that you thought were completely ridiculous?
Yeah, well, I'll start here. So, writing out and this, for some people, this might not sound ridiculous at all, but writing out a story about yourself, that is well into the future. Mm-hmm. As if you're present in the future. Yeah. And with all these details and it's all this dream big, like nothing's out of reach, and it's just like really, like that's like pie in the sky. Like, what are we talking about right now? So like those kinds of things. And then there are your trust exercises, that you might do where you have to, fall and let somebody catch you, kind of thing, where you get to be blindfolded and you have to navigate through a space and the only thing you have are the instructions of someone else's voice telling you what to do. So it was some of those things, but it was also a very practical thing. I was asked to participate in the development of business products and materials, and it was like, well, I have no idea what we're doing. Like, what do you mean? Go and design ABC, material or brochure or flyer or event, it's like, what? And so those were some of the things that I was asked to do that, looking back, is just kind of like, that wasn't all that ridiculous, but it was at the time.
So it's a far-fetched idea, and in your little mind, you can't see how this is gonna help, but it does.
So, what's this got to do with anything, right?
I know, I get it completely. I mean, when I do my coaching program, the first week is gratitude, and I like to say, I know it doesn't seem like much, but just go through the process, and then you see how much the magic begins to unfold and unfold and unfold. But the simple things always carries a lot of weight. So you became a self-mastery coach. I see that you are a number of other things. There's so much that they cannot even list the amount of things that this lady gets herself involved in. But tell us more about you becoming a self-mastery coach, and what exactly do you do?
Yes, so I've been providing services in some capacity or another to individuals, couples, families for over 20 years. And in the midst of that, I would also provide coaching services. And so I'm a licensed independent chemical dependency counselor, and I'm a licensed independent social worker by profession. And individuals would reach out and ask for support, and ask questions like, how is it that you're able to function the way that you do, to live out the life the way that you do? You came from this, how is it that you're here?
Right.
And part of the experience that I have also was in helping to develop an institute where we provided training and mentorship and facilitation of teaching for people who were working in the behavioral health field as well. And so all of that involves a type of coaching process. And so in response to people asking for the assistance and asking for help would be the answers to how I actually got here, providing these services. But if we mean like developing the skill set, developing the knowledge base, there's my own journey. There's that. And then there is the work that I've done over the 20 years as a counselor, a coach, a training facilitator, as well as one who has developed training materials and training events, and then also facilitated those or developed them in order for other people to facilitate them. I take that diverse experience and skill set, and I have modeled, because there's nothing new under the sun, really. What's different is you and me, and that someone is going to respond to me, and they're not going to necessarily respond to you.
Right.
And the way that you craft things and put things together is going to work for someone differently from how it would if I was doing it. So I've taken that eclectic approach of pulling together knowledge about the neuroscience and how our brains work, which I think sometimes gets missed. And for people who need to be concrete, sequential, and linear and things like that, or they really want to know if science backs this up, that helps with that. So taking
Right.
that approach, cognitive behavioral therapy, various techniques from that. It's not providing therapy in a coaching setting, but the different skills and tools that can be used from that: rational emotive behavioral therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy. Like there are these modalities that are out there that I have experience in providing to people, where I've been able to pull in an appropriate manner different techniques and strategies from those, along with what we understand about how our brains work, and help people to design a life vision and action plans that will get at the heart of their issues quickly, so that they don't waste, like we waste so much time sometimes, first of all, doing all the thinking. My approach is motivation, inspiration, activation. And so I take that approach with those different aspects in mind, and help people to craft goal plans, action plans, and life visions, and specific instruction on how to strategize to execute that, and to do so swiftly, so that they can experience momentum and get results, and so that they can develop that increased and enhanced belief in themselves. It doesn't work just for folks who happen to find themselves feeling in despair, but also high performers. And I've worked with those individuals as well. High performers, high achievers who want to get to their next level. We can cut through with some of the trial and error that we do, which like it's fine. And there's going to be some of that anyway to a degree. But because of these types of strategies, we can swiftly get to the results that people are looking for.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I love the fact that you use some science, and for me, it's some Bible and some science and some logical thinking and some mindset. So you mix it up and you get everybody that way. But what are two, if you could share with us without exposing anyone's identity, two of your, say, cases that you would consider to be, out there, far out there, where people would say, that's an hopeless case?
Yeah, so there have been many, actually, but I'll go with one individual who, as I mentioned, his experience was that he did 25 years incarcerated, and spoke of himself as institutionalized, and was having difficulty getting himself to acclimate, to a different kind of lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And there were some, as he re-entered into the community, there were some things that were being presented to him as opportunity. And he had decided he knew he didn't want to live that way, but was identifying the significant struggle that it was. And I'm using this example because it's an extreme one, but this individual came, we talked about how to move past the belief system that said that it is necessary for me to return to the kind of life that I was living. I owe that to some people, and there are some people out here on the outside that owe me their life. And it's really quite emotional, even as I speak about it now, where this individual, we worked together, and he was able to shift those belief systems and come to a place where he began to work on his own spiritual, emotional, and mental health, started to participate in art, various activities in the art community, and started making art in this way to where it would be a contribution for other people, and as an outlet for getting out some of the trauma that he had actually experienced. And this is probably the most, we were able to conquer and shift and change the belief system that when I looked this man in his eyes, and we both knew and understood that what he believed he needed to do was likely going to get done. and we walked through that thing, and that didn't happen. His life was saved, and other lives were saved because he was able to shift the paradigm that he had around who he owed his life to, what his life meant, and how he could contribute to society. And it's working. Also, is working as well, and actually starting a business as well, and has plans to help other people who are re-entering the community. So that is it's awesome stuff. There was a lady. I'll pause if I didn't.
Oh yeah,
you said one or two. So
yeah, I know. But I wanted to ask you, what with dealing with someone who was incarcerated, coming out after 20 years, there is a lot of adjustments that needs to be made, and then there is the temptation of going back to the same life that they're used to, that they know, that they understand, that they have knowledge about. I know you'd have probably dealt with more than one individuals like this. What are some of the major challenges that people in that position or similar position has to overcome?
Well, number one is the conditioning, like the mental belief system conditioning. We are all living out the results of our conditioning until we realize that we get a say in the matter. We're living that out. And so we're talking many years of that. So that was a significant obstacle. And so the self-talk that comes with that, and being able to learn how to train and teach and help coach a person through a process where they learn to actually capture the thoughts that are usually happening at the subconscious level, so that they become aware of them, so that they can then decide if they want to keep those thoughts or not, or if they want those thoughts telling them what to feel and think, say, and do. And so that's a challenge in and of itself. But the environment, in that particular kind of scenario, a person coming out with not a lot of resources, not a lot of options, nowhere to turn, and opportunity to do what they are familiar with all around them. And just dealing with like our hierarchy of needs in that situation. I need to be able, I need to deal with my basic needs. I need to feel like it's certain that I'm going to be cared for. And here's an opportunity right here in front of me. So like those were some of the things that are extremely challenging in those situations.
Right. Okay, let's go quickly to case number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, case number. So, all right. So this is more like the high performer side of things, where working with an individual to go from I'll say it this way, and specifically, this is a mother. So someone who's a mother and is a professional and has achieved a significant amount already, yet lacks fulfillment. And we understand that to get everything you believe that you want and need to have, to hit success without fulfillment can be failure. Perceived that way. And so working with this individual whose whole being, worth and value was tied to these various roles in this individual's life, and the ability to get gain, to get prestige, to have a name for themselves, and still at the end of the day be sad, anxious, depressed, unfulfilled. And so to walk, and that was deeply rooted as well, because that's tying back to that person's own worth and value.
Right.
So working with the individual to rediscover who they actually are, what her meaning actually is, what her purpose actually is, outside of, despite any other role, talent, gift, any of it. You by yourself, with no connections to any other roles or responsibilities or anything you have attained, are worthy because you exist. And getting to the place where this person treated themselves as such, that they are worthy, and that shows up by putting yourself on the list of things to do, on the list of things to care for, and
Right.
caring for self, putting self first, and getting to the place where there are decisions made, such as leaving said prestigious role and starting on the venture of doing that which is really in the individual's heart, and is in alignment with the purpose that they believe that they are put here for. And so that would be another one. And those are very, I'm really kind of at a loss for words. Neither are more valuable. But when a person is high achieving, it can be hard to break through them having that connection to their worth and value. So.
I love that. I love what you do, because the name of my YouTube channel is actually Self Mastery. Because I understand the importance of mastering self. Unfortunately, more of us than not is tied up with the things that we do every day, and we think that those things are actually who we are. We mother kids, we have jobs, we have communities that we take care of, some of us, and we tend to think that this thing is us. And so we spend our time fulfilling everybody's needs, and we forgot ourselves, and so we're sad and depressed, like you said. So I'm glad you brought that up. So for someone who doesn't get the concept of self-mastery, we're basically out of time, so let's make this a quick one. For someone who doesn't get the concept of self-mastery, how would you describe that to them?
Yeah, I had a couple of ways that I try to describe that to help it land for people. And maybe one of the simplest is that self-mastery is that state of being wherein you govern your body to do that which is fulfilling to you, based on your beliefs and your values, versus being controlled by and led by the conditioning that was previously present or preset or programmed. So you govern based on your own vision, values, and goals, your behavior, what you think, say, and do. And so I share with folks, again, in a nutshell, that I help people to bring their mind, will, and that's your behavior, your mind, will, soul, and emotions and spirit into alignment with your vision, values, and goals. In a nutshell, that is self-mastery. I tell myself what to do and do it based on those things, versus being led by autopilot, the preconditioning, getting results I don't really want, and feeling as though there's nothing I can do about it.
Right. Nice. What impact do you want to make on the world?
I've thrown around like these numbers and stuff in my head, because like I'm supposed to think I want to impact 1 million women or a million people to, just change their lives, and I don't know that I can put a number on it. But the impact would be, I want for as many people as possible to be set free from the bondage of the self that they have been made into.
I love that.
And to step into the power that they have to decide who and what they want to be in this world. And so to help them to uncover and discover who they really are, and not be subject to the fear that causes people to be handicapped, staying where they are because it's a known reality for them, rather than trusting that which they don't know is greater and better for them. So I want people to understand this, I guess, if I would say even more, is that you are someone's hope. That's what I want people to know. You are someone's hope. You are somebody's hope and blueprint. You are the vision they need to see so that they can understand that it is possible to be done. And so I need you to live out your purpose. Whoever's watching, whoever's listening, You yourself, Sharika. I need you all to live out your purpose in this world, because we are all connected in one way or another, and what you do matters. So in order to do that, you got to unlearn, learn, and relearn. And we have to keep doing that thing over and over again. Self-mastery is a state of being. It is not something that you attain. It is not a destination. You do not arrive there and then stop. It's an ongoing process, constant and never-ending improvement.
Beautiful. For someone who wants to start this journey, and maybe they're thinking they need to start it alone, and that's okay. But what would be thing number one that you suggest that they do?
Did you say if they wanted to start alone by themselves? You know, there's some things you can do alone. And so I definitely encourage that. I want to say this, though. If you are challenged with experiencing symptoms of trauma, or you have depression or anxiety or anything like that, that's actually also a part of what you're experiencing, I would encourage you to definitely seek out additional support. Because once you begin doing this kind of work that we're talking about, there's stuff that's going to come up that you may not have the capacity or the skills or tools to deal with, and you're gonna need support for that. But that aside, one thing that you can do, see, self-awareness is key. Self-awareness is key. So simplest of things is to journal. Sure, everybody, have heard it, and people don't like to write. Speak it into your phone, put it in your notes on your phone, but to journal. And you can approach that different ways. Journal just what your thoughts are. Journal, what are 3 ways that I felt today? What influenced those feelings? Do I appreciate feeling that way? Is there any control I have over the things that influence those feelings? So that's one thing, to journal. You mentioned gratitude lists. You can definitely start there. But as far as making transitions and transformation, ask yourself this. Daily, ask yourself, what do I want? And if you need to insert the word really, what do I really want? Then go ahead and do that. That's a different conversation. I'll leave that there. But what do I want? And then ask yourself, is what I am doing helping me to get what I want? If the answer is no, then examine what is influencing the behavior that you're doing that isn't in alignment with what you say that you want. And then come up with an action plan, specific goals and steps, and when you're going to do those things. Got to put the timeline to it. Who's going to support you? Who's going to be your accountability? So basically a goal plan, but the simplest thing is ask yourself daily, what do I want? And is what I am doing helping me to get what I want?
Beautiful. I love it. We're also trying to have one last question. Let's wrap it up quickly. What are 3 things that you say to yourself on a daily basis to help you maintain your desired state of being?
One of those is that I am excellence in motion. I am worthy because I exist. And anytime my old programming decides it wants to show up, I talk to myself. Yes, I do, and I answer myself too. In case y'all concerned about me, I'm all right. She's okay. She's okay. Don't worry about her. She all right.
Oh, dear.
I literally say to myself, my feelings don't get to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
My feelings don't get to tell me what to do, but I might say that to myself, such as, "We ain't doing that today." Like, no, that's not what we're doing. So I am excellence in motion. I am worthy because I exist. And my feelings don't get to dictate my behavior.
Beautiful. Okay, so there you have it, folks. Today we spoke with the beautiful self-mastery coach, Nisaa Robinson, and she dropped a ton of gems. So if you missed, you can go back and watch it. And this will also be on my YouTube channel next week. Nisaa, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today, and for sharing your experience and your wisdom, and for just being here with us. I appreciate you a ton. And guys, if you're not following Nisaa, go on over and give her a follow. And if you're not following me, I would love your support. I'm here every Thursday, and I'm having a conversation similar to this. But whatever it is, it's always for your edification and mine most of the time. So please come on over and join us. And if you want to begin your self-mastery process, you can purchase a copy of my book. It's called An Introduction to Freedom, and it's designed exactly for that purpose. So until next time, I hope you guys have a beautiful Thursday. Thank you once more, Nisaa. If you want to say any final thing, this is your time. No?
I would simply say, as a reminder, you are someone's hope and blueprint. So show up as your unique, authentic self, and be the purpose you were created for in this world.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharika.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday.